What of Magister Calanthus, that fool who believed he could make himself the ascended man with blood magic? 33 slaves died in that rite, and Calanthus became an abomination, so horrific that his apprentices tore out their eyes at the sight of him. Amateur. I can achieve that without sacrificing people, I just have to take off my mask. Blood magic is one of, if not the most infamous schools of magic known to Thedas. Officially it is forbidden in every country, including Tevinter, but they don't really give a shit. Why is it forbidden though? History claims that the first person to wield blood magic was Archanthalcion. He claimed to have learned it by personally communicating with the old god Dumat. The Imperial Chanter in modern times argues that it was most likely learned from the elves of Alathan. No matter where it came from, it was used throughout history by the Magisters of the Imperium to rule over Thedas. It was also used to breach the veil, allowing 7 Magisters to work physically in the Fate, which kind of fucked over the whole world. In modern days, the practice has been all but eradicated outside of the Imperium, at least in the eyes of the oblivious. There are plenty of blood mages around, but it's kinda hard to spot them. It's not like they have a sign around their neck. The Chantry and the Templar Order have put great effort into stigmatizing the practice, hoping it would stop anyone from attempting it, aside from themselves of course. Yep, you heard correctly. The Chantry is using blood magic themselves. Phylacteries, those small glass vials that contain the blood of every mage in the circle, are a form of blood magic. Should a Templar wish to track down a fugitive mage, they will use the vial as a sort of homing compass, in something similar to playing a game of hot and cold. The closer you get, the brighter the essence inside glows. Should the mage whose essence is inside the vial die, the phylactery will stop glowing altogether. It's commonly known that there is no way of using blood magic with good intentions, showing again that the common populace believes everything they're told. In the example of Ferelden's blood band, their leader Fallstick is a blood mage. He uses his magic for the good of the group however, healing their wounds and crops. In exchange, the members, known as bleeders, provide him with blood, but they do that willingly. Granted, most blood mages that tap into the forbidden practice want more, eventually taking the blood of others to fuel their spells and grow stronger. But not all of them are raving lunatics. Solus, for example, believes that this particular school is no worse than any of the others, as long as it is properly used. Merrill as well thinks there is no harm in using it, as long as the blood comes from oneself or from willing participants that doesn't lead to sacrifice. Even if the practice is not inherently evil, the Chantry strictly forbids it as part of its formal teachings. Those that do anyhow are labeled Maleficarum and hunted down by the Templar Order. As a side note here, the term Maleficar, or plural Maleficarum, is used for all mages that make use of forbidden magic. Not all Maleficarum are blood mages, but since the Templars care little for distinguishing between the schools of magic, most are simply branded as such. Little known schools, like Morrigan's shapeshifting, would also be considered as such, since the common prejudice is to link all unique forms of magic with blood magic. No matter if Maleficar or not, all apostates are hunted by the Templars, regardless of origin. The Chantry reasons that any mage left on their own will eventually turn to blood magic. Most do, out of fear and desperation to survive or avoid capture. As mentioned before, in Tevinter blood magic is officially forbidden, but still quietly practiced. This comes from Andraste speaking out specifically against blood magic, hence it was removed from the public and isn't taught at the circles in the Imperium. But since most heroes of ancient Tevinter used and mostly benefited from it, it isn't as shunned as in the other nations. It's passed down from master to apprentice, and even the most devout mage knows at least some of the practice. Imperial Templars do have to step in when a mage crosses the line. This line is crossed when someone uses sacrifice or summons demons. Still, what happens behind closed doors usually stays behind them. And even if you accuse another Magister of crossing this line, unless you have proof, all you will accomplish is your own assassination. Or if you're lucky enough to stay alive, it's kind of like social suicide. Blood magic is, in its very basic sense, the practice of using one's blood, the very essence of life, to fuel spells. This is sort of handy, since blood can be found anywhere, unlike lyrium for example. Another reason why it's shunned is how the spells gain power. The more violent the pain or death used in blood magic, the more potent and powerful the spell becomes, meaning the slower you kill, the stronger the fireball. In the beginning, blood magic wasn't even considered a school of its own. It was seen more of an augmentation of existing schools, but after a while mages discovered that there were spells exclusively usable with blood magic. One of the common uses of lyrium is to send the waking minds of mages into the Fade. Blood magic is frequently used to find the sleeping minds of others. It is one of the most potent and frightening aspects of the practice, to influence, if not outright take control over someone else. It can, however, also be used to summon demons into the waking world, so they may manifest physically, like shades for example. These demons can be bound to the will of the mage, or possess another mage or corpse. Possessing another mage results in an abomination, while possessing a corpse will result in one of the living dead. Sounds good in theory, but demons don't give a damn, usually. They are often found to kill, possess, or completely ignore the mage that summoned it. People are able to make a deal with them in exchange for their aid, but they must always be on constant guard. They will seek to possess the person at any time, and should the demon gain the upper hand, it will turn the host into an abomination. Aside from Tevinter, the only group known to allow blood magic are the Very Wardens. Since they act outside of the jurisdiction of most nations, the Templars and the Chantry usually look the other way, provided the practice is used solely to aid their fight against the Darkspawn. Which is also the reason why blood magic is a specialization for the Warden in Origins and Awakening. They are known to look for and use any and all advantages against the Darkspawn. This goes so far that Warden mages, who find themselves captured or imprisoned by the Darkspawn without hope of escape, allow a demon to possess them, turning themselves into an abomination. Avernus, a Warden mage, is also a known blood mage who used the practice to prolong his life to unnatural length. He studied the power hidden inside the blood of Wardens, which combines blood magic and the magic of the Taint. Ancient history, as well as modern events, suggest that blood magic holds a key to incredible power that have yet to be discovered or have long been forgotten. But as is the way with power, it always comes with a price. And this price is usually very high with blood magic, making it one of the most powerful but costly schools of magic in Thedas.